Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm not in the van today. The van is getting MOT, so I've got to drive a car today to work. Yeah, just totally forgot I had MOT and it ran out yesterday. So van's getting sorted out. So until then, I drive to drive to work in the car. Sorry guys, I'm shattered. Been doing so much long days, but right, so you guys seen the title of the video, and this is why I haven't been on the YouTube for a couple of almost 2 weeks, because I've just had some issues to sort out. And when I have been on site, I have been on site during this period of time as well, quite a lot actually, but it's been a lot of sort of half days, incomplete jobs, you know, starting jobs, not finishing it, etc. So I've just had to kind of stop it because it's just been getting too much time's been wasted, too much expense and so on. So basically, long and short of it is we've been having various issues on the job for a while now, pretty much from the early days of the job. We've been battling through, you know, we have an attitude, can-do attitude. We're always trying to get through, but it gets to a point where there's where something is unrealistic or where something becomes excessive. So it got to the point where I basically had to call the client and say, look, I need to meet with you and the other client, because there's two clients actually. So one of them is more of a silent investor, so he doesn't frequent the site. He's not around. The other one is sort of like the project manager. He's who I actually work with on the job. So he deals with getting materials in for us. He's the one who's been dealing with these design changes and stuff like that. So he's a lot more hands-on in the job. And he knows all the issues that's going on, but the other investor doesn't really know, well, at least he doesn't know my perspective. So basically I've called a meeting, and we had a meeting a couple of days ago before I'm making this video here now. So I'll come back at the end and just trying to tell you where we're at after the meeting. But what I'm going to show you guys is what I filmed probably like a week ago, when I was probably in a lot more of a badder mood, I'd say. So yeah, just bear that in mind. But I'm just going to show you guys a little bit around site and explain some of the challenges that we've been having and the reason why this meeting was called. And then once I've gone through that, then I'll come back at the end and I'll just wrap up and explain to you and tell you where we're at this point. Hi guys, so I'm going to take you around site. I'm doing this really for my record, just to remind myself of some of the issues that I'm having here or have here. And while we're doing it, I'll just show you guys and explain some as we go along. So yeah, this is one ongoing problem we've had, is lack of materials. So you guys can see we've tried to clear this whole floor out here. This is the ground floor flat, and insulation was provided. So this whole area should be covered in 75mm insulation. You can see we're a little bit short. This is every single board that we were given has been used, and we're also supposed to do in here as well, so you guys can see. So this whole area here, we have none, which means whoever calculated, or the clients who calculated how much we need, has grossly miscalculated it, which is a common theme of not having enough materials. So that meant, while starting the other side, having to stop and not being able to finish the job for the day so that we can get it ready for screeding. So we are now waiting since I think sometime last week for insulation boards, which still haven't arrived, so we can't do that. In the meantime, while we were waiting for that stuff, they've had the scaffolders come back in to put some scaffolding up for the dormer, side paneling, which is not really supposed to be done at this phase. But while they were putting the lift on outside this wall, which I'll show you in a minute, they got them into here, I guess, to save money, to put it in at the same time while they were here. The problem is, the way they've done it, I'll show you from outside, is they've put the legs inside the building. So a whole part of the delay of finishing the ground floor roof area was that we had scaffold poles inside here from the original scaffolding, which ran all the way across this door out here. So we needed these moved, so they moved them and then they came back and put them back in, which, as you can see, means we can't put our insulation boards down and we can't screed the floor in the kitchen because we have these scaffold poles in the way. So this is now causing a delay to getting, one, the roof done, because the poles come through the roof, and then two, to getting the flooring done and screeding it so that we can get on with working into this kitchen with services and plasterboarding and stuff like that. All right guys, you guys can see now, this is the section of lift that we've been asking for. I ended up doing that block work from inside using trestles and using all sorts of dangerous stuff, ladders on top of trestles, all that stuff, just to get some of the work going, because we were just waiting and waiting and waiting for this scaffolding to come. Now that it has come, as you guys can see, the scaffolding for this section, I'll show you here, it starts here and then it ends here. So again, you can see for some reason it's short. It should be about a meter more to the left, and this is typical issue that we've had, is if the scaffolders turn up and they've only got certain pipes in there, they'll just use what they have and they won't bother. They could have extended that over or used longer pipes, which I'm assuming they didn't have longer pipes up with them at the time. Another thing you might have noticed is there's no toe boards on here. So we've got no toe boards here on this section here. Also, we have incomplete guardrails, which you guys can see. We should have guardrails here for fall arrest, so that prevents, if one of us trip and fall backwards, there's something to protect us from falling down. So you can see totally missing here, that's unsafe. There's none on that side. On this larger main scaffolding, again, you can see guardrails are missing. On the top level up here, this scaffolding here to finish that little bit of, well, for us to work on that area here, there is no guardrails, absolutely no guardrails here. Not enough boards up there. There's only 2 boards and there's no toe boards on it either, as you guys can see that there. There was no toe boards here. I put that piece of scaffolding here, as you guys can see. I put that little section of scaffolding as a toe board. I just rested it up there because there was none there. Basically what happened is, one early morning they came in, they needed scaffolding, and they took the top section of the scaffold down without telling us. And so eventually he got them back in to do it, because I said we need that scaffold because we weren't finished. So they came back and quickly knocked it up about a week later, or maybe over a week later, and this is how they've built it when they've come back. So you know, just again, just lots and lots of problems with the scaffolding, and just the scaffolding being unsafe. There's no toe, well, there's a toe board here, but yeah, just that section we didn't have. And as you guys can see up there, this scaffolding there, this is a scaffolding that you're expected to work on. Literally 2 boards, massive gap, as you guys can see here, massive gap here. No toe board anywhere on it, and also no guardrails on the sides, no side rails. And this is at the second lift up there, so that's definitely somewhere where our guys are not going to work on. Another issue we're having is ladders. There originally was 1 ladder. We had to ask and ask and ask, and they brought a second ladder eventually. When they came and took this scaffolding, they took the other ladder. So we've only have 1 ladder to get up this scaffolding and to get up the next level. Bearing in mind, this front lift here is not accessible from the rest of the scaffold. So when we need to get to the back scaffolding, we have to take the ladder, or the 2 ladders from this section, and carry them down and move them to the other section to get at the back. That's what we've had to do, which has caused slow working doing that. Now we only have 1 ladder now, so it's even worse. We have another ladder here at the moment, which is not the scaffolder's ladder, but the scaffold's only provided 1 ladder. So I'm going to see if I can show you guys. At the moment I don't have a ladder to get up here, but as you can see, this scaffolding section here has no boards on it whatsoever. When we've had to move around here, we've literally been walking on the poles. There's no boards here at the moment. So I'm going up to the first floor. We've got internal ladders to get up because there's no staircase yet. So basically this is how we have to access the scaffold at the moment. So I'm on the first floor now. So you can see where I'm standing on the Oriole window steel. And this is the section I was telling you about here. So also, when we were doing the brickwork, instead of bringing the scaffolding in over the bay window and closer up to the house, they stopped there and they stopped there. So we couldn't stand in this area to do brickwork. So we had to build some timber scaffolding to bridge this gap. Otherwise, it was impossible for us to work. So that's what we ended up doing, because we just gave up on the scaffolders. So as you can see where I'm at the moment now, this is where I am. Literally had to, and I'm doing this with one hand, I've literally had to climb from here to get down to here onto the scaffolding here. Another issue we've had is rotten scaffolding boards. This one I put on the side is a rotten one. There was one higher up. I don't know if it's that one. I'm not sure. No, it wasn't that one. There was another one somewhere that Tristan's foot actually went through the scaffolding board. That's how rotten it was. So some of these boards are just rotten and unsafe. So we're still on scaffolding. So all these boards here are not being fixed. They should be clamped. They're just moving. There's places where we've had to screw timbers across this way and screw them down just to secure these boards down because boards were moving basically. So that's basically how they are. So now so this is what I was telling you about fall arrest. There's no fall arrest here. I could literally fall off the scaffolding here backwards. There's no fall arrest here. There's none on the sides here either. And these are the boards are moving about. What else have we got? So now this part is one of the worst, this section here. And another issue we've had is position of the scaffolding. They've been putting the scaffolding too close to the building, and many times you guys can see where we've had to build a tile around the pole, which means we can't put fascia boards, we can't put soffit boards, and we can't finish this section until this scaffolding is down. We had the same situation at the back, which ended up making it a lot more difficult to install the fascia boards and taking tiles off again and stuff like that. So this section here is an area where we're expected to work and do the side dormer up here with big aluminium sheets, and they've only put 2 boards in here and they've put no boards here, and there's no side rails at all on this area. So this is another area that obviously we're not going to be working on. All right, so there we go. So the guys have come back and put in some scaffolding here at the back to do the dormer, which again wasn't ready for this at this phase, but the client decided to go ahead and put it up to save money while they were doing this section here. Okay, so this one they've put the scaffolding onto the window. So this is something we've noted, that we don't want to take responsibility of any weight on this breaking the window. Just want to document that, how they built this scaffold. Instead of raising it a bit higher up, that's where they put it. We have no fall arrest on the side here again, similar situation. And there are no toe boards along the back there's no toe boards here on the scaffold. Again, prevent things from falling down, breaking the window, falling down on other people. Right, so this situation is the fiberglass deck. So we tried to get this fiberglass deck done many times. As you guys can probably notice, we've actually fiberglassed the main area of this, and we had no choice, and the client agreed or asked us to do it because on 2 occasions he got the wrong window. First window was a Velux style window, which I suggested against. I said to get a flat skylight window. They went with a Velux one, which has a raised box, which was bigger than this window and very high, so it was breaching the window here. So once it came on site and it was fitted, they agreed that they had to change it. So we had to delay the roof and not put the top boards down because we don't want it to get wet. So we put the insulation until the window came in, so we put the top boards in. So they asked us to cut out 600 by 600 hole just to save time, so when the window comes ready to go. So we did that. One day when we got the window in, we put the boards down, everything. We put the window in. Then I realized that the window didn't have the motor on it. There was a motor missing because it told me it's going to be an electric window. So I said, this is not electric, doesn't have a motor in it. So then they had to send it, well, they had to order another one, which came a couple of days later. But because we already had all the boards down and everything ready to go, we had to fiberglass the deck because it was going to rain. But the problem with doing that is that you have to then cut out this hole and then install this after, screw it down. Now you've got to sand all the deck around here and then fiberglass and blend it in, which basically just means more work to do. And it's always a better practice to put the window in and fiberglass up to the window all in one go, which I explained to them, but they were like, oh, just get it done, you can add it in after. So that's what we did there. So I'm up in the loft at the moment, and we've had so many design changes on this job. Literally almost every other day there's some other change or something. So for an example, the loft was supposed to have 2 windows. If you look on the drawing, the plan was to have 2 windows, and this was what we budgeted the work to do for labor. So after he had put the window in, he's also decided at some point, depending on the market, he may want to convert this master bedroom into 2 small bedrooms, which would be absolutely tiny, but he wants to provide some flexibility for that, which wasn't costed again in the drawing. It was designed for 1 bedroom. For instance, on the quote provides 1 bedroom with 3 sockets and 1 light. So now, because he wants to anticipate for extra bedrooms, he wants a whole load of sockets in this one. I think it would end up being about 8 sockets up there. I think he wants like 4 in this bedroom and maybe 4 or 3 in the other bedroom. Put in extra radiator pipes, put in there in the floor for the bathroom if they ever do extra plumbing ones in here, stuff like that. All sorts of stuff. 4 spotlights up in this area, and originally it's supposed to be just 1 light in here. So 4 spotlights here, 1 light for that bedroom, and another light for this bedroom. So yeah, we've gone from 1 light to 6 lights. So these are the changes, which we try to explain to the customer that they cost us more. That's more cost for our electrician, which is already priced the job for us. If I go back to him and say it's not just 1 pendant in the loft anymore, there's 2. I think he wanted a track light as well, or something like that. There's at least 2 lights in there, and there's at least 4 spotlights and 3 lighting circuits now. 1 light switch for the bathroom and 1 light for each room. So it becomes 1 lighting circuit with 1 pendant and 1 switch to 3 lighting circuits with 6 lights and 3 switches. So essentially tripling the amount of work up here, which obviously will have an effect on the price. The problem I have when I discuss this with the client, he doesn't like to accept that things will cost him more money and doesn't see why he should be paying, which is the craziest thing and the most difficult part of working with a client, is having to explain basic reasonable building practices. So I'll just show you here, this is roughly where he's marked out where the bathroom would be. So because of that, because he's planning on potentially putting a shower in this corner, we had already put the window in with an agreed position, so we had to take it out and move the window over. So that's part of the problem or extra work we had to do. We moved the window. Then we had the second window we had over here somewhere, and then he's decided he wanted a big Juliet balcony French windows here instead, and asked us if basically he said he doesn't want a window there anymore, it's a door now. So we had to take out some stud work, move it, and create a door opening again. So that was again extra work that we ended up doing. So these windows have been an absolute nightmare. So there's 1 here and there are 2 here. So we've got 1 here, you guys can see, we've got another 1 here. Now these, if anybody knows, I'm not sure if anybody's used these before, but this light is called OptiLight. I'd never heard of it before this job. Typically we use Velux and Fatcro, that's what we mostly use. So this is a window that I've never heard before, never used. Now doing my little bit of research, it seems to be a cheaper alternative to a Velux. The problem is, I think their market is outside of the UK, because looking at the manuals and stuff, it doesn't seem that they're really designed for a lot of UK houses. I'll explain why. So this is the flashing kit that was given to us with this window. According to the manual, it was suitable for tiles of a certain thickness, and that's all it really said. So we checked the thickness of the tile. We said this falls within the thicknesses in the manual. So the flashing he given us must be the right flashing. So we've installed the windows. At first he didn't like the way the tiles sat on the window. So we put the tiles, let's see if I can show you guys now actually. Bearing in mind this is another flashing that's been installed, so this is not the original flashing that we installed, because we've done this twice. So when we originally installed it, let's see if you guys can see, we installed this is a different flashing kit, as I said, but we installed the tiles right up to the close to the edge of the window according to the manual. Now he didn't like it because the tiles were kicking up a bit here, because there was a bit of a ridge that they sat on. So he asked us to put them to the outside of the ridge so that they sat more flat. I told him that I don't think that's where it goes, but that's what he asked for, so we did it. Then we did it. He said it looked better, but he's not sure whether it's correct because he's spoken to the manufacturer and he can't get a proper answer from them. Now, he eventually did get a text from the sales rep who said, yes, you can cut it there, it's fine. He still didn't accept that, and he started going back and forth doing some research. Another sales rep said, oh, they're not good for the type of tiles that you have, even though it's that thickness, but not that type of tile. So one option is, and what works, is to use the flashing kit from Fatcro windows because it fits on it. So he ended up getting a flashing kit for a Fatcro window of the same size, which did actually fit. We had to take all the tiles off after we had cut the tiles twice. We took all the tiles off again around the window. We removed the entire flashing kit, which you can see there. And then we installed a new Fatcro flashing kit, recut all the edges of the tiles. So that was the third time we cut the edges of the tiles. If anybody knows fitting these windows, how much time that takes. We've got 3 big windows here. That's cutting the sides and top of tiles all the way around. And you have to cut them individually to make sure that they all are neat. So he was happy with that in the end. So that was that done. So that ended up taking a couple of days work to do it. And that's the only time on this job that I've actually said, look, you're going to have to pay a little bit extra money for this, because the fact that we've done it 3 times and we've done it all the ways that we've been told to do it, and it's not our fault that you're giving us a flashing that doesn't work. So we literally only charged him, I'm being transparent, we only charged him £300 for that extra work, which should be a lot more than that. So it was more of a sort of don't do this again sort of thing. But we thought things would change, but things have just gotten worse since then. So another issue we've been having is lack of materials, constantly running out of materials. So you can see these bricks here were brought in by the client, because we've been waiting and waiting for these bricks, because everything he orders, he doesn't have a van and he supplies the materials. So when it's things like this, he can't pick them up quickly. He's got to order them, and everything takes time to get orders in. A couple of days here, next week, sort of stuff like that. So I think he wanted us to get the brickwork done today on this last section up here, because the scaffolders came in and put this in. He went and put these in his car. I think he made some trips in his car just to carry these bricks, which is just, again, not ideal, but he's managed to get some bricks here. But that's us waiting for him to pick up stuff in his car all the time, which is just a lot of the time very slow, and he can only carry so much stuff, as you can see. So this is not even going to be enough bricks anyway, so he's going to have to get more bricks in. I'm sure this is not enough bricks to do that section here, because I think we said we needed about a pallet, about 400 and something bricks to do that, and I know this is not a pallet here. So probably going to be the same situation again. We start working, we work, and then we like, look, we haven't got enough bricks, and we have to wait again for him to get more bricks in, which is what's been happening all the time. I don't know how many times we've had deliveries of bricks on this job, constantly running out of bricks, constantly running out of blocks, constantly running out of roof tiles. All the roof tiles are finished. We haven't done this area of roof here, the front and back, so we've got no roof tiles for that. So even if the scaffold poles are out of the way, we still can't do the roof because we don't have any roof tiles. So as we're out here, this is another contention of mine, which I mentioned to him the other day. This is, and I don't even know where the rest of it is, to be honest, which concerns me. This wrapped up in this plastic is asbestos. This is the asbestos that was taken down from the roof of the fascia boards of the neighboring party wall that used to be there before. And at the time, he had some cowboys come in. They just pulled up on a van. We were actually working, doing the brickwork on the back. You can see this in a video, one of our videos, where we were working on that back wall upstairs, and you can see in the video that the fascia boards up there exist, and then later on in the video you'll see that they've been removed. So that break in between is when the guys came to knock it down. So we were working at the back, and we just heard a lot of smashing, and there was just dust flying everywhere above us. And I was thinking, who the hell is who's doing that? And when I looked up, I saw some guys standing on our trestles, and they were just smashing all of the asbestos soffit boards off with a hammer. They had no masks on. They had t-shirts on, and I just couldn't believe what I was saying. And I shouted at the guy, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, we're taking this down." And I said, "You know it's asbestos, right?" He said, "Oh yeah, it's all right. It's not. This one's not that bad." And I said, "Well, you shouldn't be just smashing it everywhere, all over the place. And also, we're working under you. You could have told us you're going to be doing that." So we ended up coming down, standing on the road while they did it. And I told him he needs to get him to clean all the bits everywhere. Now, all they did was, they didn't even use black bags. He gave them some DPM, and they just wrapped up all the big bits in the DPM, and they left all the bits everywhere. We still ended up having to clean it up, because obviously they had gone and they weren't going to do it. So we had to be working on site, so we had to clear up the rest. Now this stuff here, because I told him to get a company in, he did get quotes. He didn't want to pay the price to do it. He said, "Oh, it's too expensive." I tried to explain it's a specialist job. It needs to be done properly. They have to dispose of it. He said, "Oh, he can get rid of it. The council will take it," apparently. And this was months ago, and it's still here, wrapped up in plastic. And as you can see, there's a couple of bags of it, or a couple of wrappings here. That's not all of it, so I don't know where the rest of it is. And it's just here on site, literally where we enter every day. It's here. The bags are opening. It's all unwrapping. And this is health and safety. Anybody knows about asbestos? It can cause lymphoma in later life. It causes lung cancer. It shouldn't be on site in a plastic like this. It should be gone. Anybody who doesn't know what this is could be messing about with it, and I don't know why it's still here on site. And this is another issue that we have in here. Another issue as well is site cleanliness. Some people are moaning about the site being untidy, not knowing that skips have got nothing to do with us. Whenever I ask for skips, I don't get them. I had to insist we get a skip, because when I was going to do this parapet wall, I said we need to put the trestles here, and this area is full of rubbish. We've been filling everything up here. We're not going to be able to put the trestles here. We can see we've already started filling it again, taking up all the stuff that we've got in the loft and bringing it down, because we filled the skip. And this skip is still here. It needs to be gone. It needed another one. We took a load of soil out here, which we still had to move. So we had to clear a space to put the trestles so that we could work. And that's the only reason why this skip was brought in. For some reason, the client doesn't want to spend money on skips. And the crazy thing is, the job next door, which is an extension and a loft, they've probably had at least 8 skips in since they've been here. And I think we've probably had maybe 3 at the most on this entire build that we've had, which is crazy. So we're constantly storing up rubbish in areas. There's still loads of rubbish in the front of the building. There's rubbish at the back. We're already limited with space on this site, and we're constantly finding spaces to put things because we don't have skips. So again, if I was managing the job and providing this stuff, you guys have seen our jobs. We're constantly bringing in skips. I mean, the cowboy build job, I think we brought about 6 skips in just even before we started the work, just to clear the site out. Skips are important. Clients don't seem to see value in certain things like skips. So this is one of the issues that we're having. Even when we did the grab trucks, when we were doing the digging for the insulation, for the foundations, when I'd get to a certain amount, I say get the grab truck in to clear it out so that we can work properly. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to try and maximize as much could go in, and the grab trucks would only take so much anyway, so it just causes delays when you're using a digger on a small site and you've got so much soil in a place that you can't move about. So again, all these sort of trying to not spend money and trying to be frugal in the wrong way, it just causes delays on the job. But anyway, I'm just going to show you guys where we are on the job now. As you guys can see, we're here pretty much. It's that brickwork that needs to be finished. The scaffolding needs to be sorted out. We're not working on it. There's the tiles on that roof will obviously need to be done, which the scaffolding is going through the roof, so you can't tile it. The dormer would need to be cladding again. And even that top part here, if you guys look right up there, let me see if I can show you guys. That side piece is supposed to be cladded, and there's no scaffolding on the side, so you're expected to walk on top of this roof to clad the side of that with having no fall arrest on the side. Now what I said to him is that they should have had a trussing or some sort of trussing or something running from this scaffold across to this scaffold in here, and then had some sort of lift going around that thing so you could walk around this area here. But again, he doesn't want to spend money and get proper scaffolding. He's getting, I don't know if these guys have even licensed, to be honest, the way that they've been working, so God knows. So yeah, I think we've just decided now at this point that we're not going on this scaffold anymore. It's not worth us risking our lives for this client who doesn't really appreciate what we're doing. So, and he's gonna have to sort that out. So I think at this point we're having a meeting to discuss this stuff soon, so we're going to see what the outcome of this meeting is. Hey guys, so that's just some of the things. When I tell you some of the things, I can't spend all day going through this stuff, but I've just shown you a couple of the challenges that we're having here. So as I said, we are having a meeting soon with the client and the client's investor. I demanded a meeting with the investor, who's the other person that I signed the contract with. So I want them to be aware of the issues we have, because the problem is they're hearing one side of the story from this developer, and obviously we need to make sure they understand the full context of what's going on and why we've had delays on the job. So that's why I've called and demanded to have a meeting with him. So we'll be having a meeting with him soon, a sit-down meeting. I'm going to explain all these issues that we've been having, some of the stuff I mentioned here, and then loads of other things as well that have cost us delays. So I'm still working out exactly how much the delays are, but I estimate at this point, where I've calculated so far, that we've had about 4 weeks of delays and a cost to us of somewhere between 11 and 13,000 pounds on delays, because we provided the labor at a fixed price. So all the delays and extra works and so on have, every week that goes over our schedule costs me in labor. Okay, it doesn't cost the client because he's still buying the same materials, but it costs us when things have to be done again, when things have to be changed, when things become extra work. They cost us because they take longer, and I pay for every hour that's worked on site. So this is where it's got to the point where I've had to just stop things, and we've had to reassess things. So our deadline is actually 15th of January, contrary to some of you guys' belief. It's 15th of January 2025 is the deadline, what we agreed, and at the moment we are not going to make that deadline because of the issues. Now we could possibly I mean, you could in any situation you could possibly meet a deadline, but the only way I could see us doing it is throwing lots of subcontractors on the job, or more workers, and that will be an additional cost to me because I will be bringing in extra workers to do the work, to push things up, to make up for the delays caused by the client. And I don't feel that's fair for me to have to pay for extra workers to get back on target of delays that weren't caused by us. So if the client is willing to pay for these extra subcontractors, that's another thing, but we are not going to do that. So yeah, so we're gonna have a meeting about that as well. So guys, that's just a couple of the issues that we were having. I just remembered another one as well. This is how crazy it is. So he's, you know, friendly with the builder next door, and when they were doing their roof, their front roof, they bring in roofing contractors, all right? So they ran out of tiles, they ran out of tile and halves, and obviously he wasn't able to get them in immediately, and I think he's paying the roofers by the day. So he wants them to finish the job, obviously. And well, when we came in the next day, they'd come on our roof, and he's allowed them, to take a load of tiles off our roof, tile and a halves all down the sides and stuff, so that they could finish off their roof next door. And work that we had already laid the front of the building, they've taken the tiles down that we've already laid. So when I found that out, I said to him, basically the long and short of it, I was like, you need to get them, you know, resupply the tiles and re-put it back, because we've already done it, we're not doing it again. Never happened. Weeks, never happened. Because obviously the bad weather and that, we didn't want to take any chances. While we were doing the back, we ended up retiling the front parts that they took off. And that's something that someone else was supposed to do. So we done some work twice on that side of the roof. So again, this is just another, just showing you guys how diabolical this site has been. But I'm shooting off now anyway, so I've done this video for you guys just to keep you guys informed. Obviously it's been a while since I've done videos. People have seen, you may have noticed that the videos have come more sporadic and less. This is because of all the time that's been wasted on site. So unfortunately it means that not being able to make videos sometimes, waiting on things, delays here and there. So that's partly why I haven't been able to do videos. And it's hard also to do videos on sections where it's like you've already worked on that section and we've had to stop here, and then we've worked on that section, we've had to stop here, just because we're trying to keep work continually moving, but we have to continually stop in different areas. And sometimes I'm doing a video and I can't finish it because we haven't finished a flat roof or something, because we've had to stop there because we haven't got the window, we've had to jump off on somewhere else, or we can't do that, you know what I mean? Just a lot of that's been happening, and the site, the work has been fragmented, and customer doesn't understand that fragmenting work like that makes everything longer. Just the setting up for an area, setting up trestles or stuff like that to work on an area, moving materials, and then not being able to finishing, and then needing the ladders and needing the tools and needing the other things on somewhere else, having to take it and then move downstairs and then do there and then go back up to the loft. And it's just the wrong way to work. It's exhausting. I've just decided that we can't work like that. They're breaking contract too many times, they're changing the design, etc. Contract actually stipulates that any changes in design for aesthetic reasons are to be priced and paid. So that's something I had even forgot, to be honest, but after reading through the contract I realized. So for instance, things like the parapet wall, which are all aesthetic changes and stuff, should be billed. So these are the things that I'm going to be discussing with them as well. So another issue and contention that I've had, which I have to bring up with the client, I mentioned this, I even gave up talking about this now, and I talked about this at the last meeting that we had when we had issues, was toilets and sanitary solutions. They have a requirement to provide, and them being the main contractor, to provide us, or the principal contractor, with toilet and sanitary systems, i.e. clean running water and you know, soap, and a toilet system. Now the client had in his preliminary costings, which he had shown me, a budget for a chemical toilet system. We've never received that toilet system. It's been 5 months we've been on site and we've never had a toilet on site. We don't have any running water because obviously this was bare land. The neighbor, the house next door, the lady had been kind enough to allow us to use her water, so we've been using water from her side, or from her back garden. But the problem is, since she started building that rear extension, which is all closed up now, she doesn't have an external tap at the moment. I don't know if they're going to be putting one, but the builders haven't put one outside. So the tap that we were originally used to use is inside the building now, so we have to go in the building to get water. Now sometimes the builders are not there, sometimes they're leaving before we've left, and we've had times where we can't get water especially nearer to the end of the day. So I mean, one time we were trying to do a mix and there was nobody there yet, so we couldn't get any water, and this is the problem we had. So we, even forgetting about water to do mixes, we need water for health and safety. If you need water, clean running water for any reason, water to wash hands and things like that. You know, we go for lunch and stuff. You want to go down the shop, the cafe or something, or you got to find somewhere to wash your hands, you know, before you eat and stuff like that, after you've been working on site all day. To go to the toilet is a big problem. We're having to find places, you know, where we can use the toilet, which you shouldn't be doing. You know, having fine. Obviously, we're guys, so we can get away with a lot more than women can, but we're still limited to, you know, how we can relieve ourselves and stuff. So we don't have toilets. You know, I've had some of the guys having to walk 10 minutes to go to a toilet. You know what I mean? 10 minutes each way to get to a toilet. So it's like, this is another issue that we've had. And as I said, the client doesn't see as important, doesn't like spending money on stuff. I'm looking right now across the road at a loft extension, literally a loft extension, and they have a portable toilet outside. And this is a small job, and we are building a huge 3-story building, and we've not had any toilet facilities and no running water on site for us. So again, this is another issue, and I've decided that we are not going to work again under those situations. So we wouldn't work on site anymore without toilet and clean running water access on our site. As I said, I have to confirm exactly what we're going to do once we do have a meeting, because obviously everyone's got to be heard out, and then I'll make a decision after the meeting, I guess, on how the meeting goes in the end. So yeah, probably the next clip you'll see is me telling you guys how the meeting went. So guys, thanks for watching. So I'm back again. So hopefully that video gives you guys a little bit more of an insight into some of the problems that we've been having in situations. So I mean, there's more things than that, but I've just explained a few things that came to my head while I was there. The list is quite long, but basically after I filmed that, we met up with a client, and you know, we had a good meeting, actually, a good cordial meeting. We sat down, we ate, etc. I think we spoke for about 3 hours. While we were eating, we went to a restaurant, and we just sort of hashed everything out. You know, the project manager explained what his point of view of things were, etc. I explained mine, and you know, I had a sort of maybe the sort of main list of what the issues were, because obviously I'm the one who brought up to have the meeting. And I think at the end of the meeting, it was kind of, especially the investor, he really does want us to do the job, and he was just really wanting us to come with some solution of how we could sort of work this out. So I mean, I kind of was open to that. I left it for, it's been, I think, 2 days now. I haven't heard from the other project manager yet as at the time of making this video, but I have just recently now sent him an email with basically just kind of minutes of the meeting that we had, and just kind of really just formally withdrawing from the project. So you know, at this stage right now, I mean, anything can change. Something could change after this video, who knows? But as it is at this moment, we are off the job, and we're likely not to go back. It's been very costly, and I think what I think is the difficult part is when you're working with someone who you're on a different page with, like, and I mean, really see things totally different. And so when you're working together, you know, on a project together, and you see one thing one way, or you see one way of how business is done or how a project is managed or run, and the other person you're working with has literally a sort of 180 different view of work of doing things, you just are not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, and it's gonna constantly be issues. So and then obviously the issues also have become very financial to me as well, in the sense that all of the delays that we've had have cost me quite a lot of money. And because we're on a fixed price, bearing in mind we're on a labor only price, we're not providing any materials or any of that stuff. The client provides all that stuff. So obviously these materials is kind of fixed, but the labor can fluctuate if we go over, etc, etc. Now obviously if delays are caused by the client, then obviously it can be penalized for it, etc. if delays are caused by me, vice versa. So we have unfortunately one of the issues we have is the deadline as well. The deadline actually for this job is the 15th of January 2025. It's not possible with all the delays we've had without, you know, bringing in a lot more extra work and just really just being on this job like weekends and everything. So I'm not prepared to do that, or to, you know, kill myself or my staff to make it happen. And plus we've got a lot of things on site, like I showed you on the video, like scaffolding for instance, that would need to be sorted out before we could even return back to site, because we refuse to work on, you know, in the environments that we've been working in for the last 5 months. So I think all these things are would just cause more delays anyway. So I think in the best interest at the moment is for the client to just source contractors to finish off the remaining works. I mean, they're pretty much almost inside. There's a little bit of roof work to do, and then it's pretty much inside really. It's services, gas and electrics. As far as I know, they may even have the gas person in doing the heating system, pipe work for radiators and all that stuff now, because we actually had someone booked in and I told them to delay it until we had the meeting. So who knows where things are now at the moment. The fact that I haven't heard from him, I'm just assuming that he's just moving on, because the deadline is really important for him, and I understand that. And I know that one of the issues is he doesn't want to lose the deadline. So more than likely he will just get contractors in to finish the work. But yeah, so I'm waiting to hear back from him anyway. I've sent him an email. We'll see what if he has thought of any solution or anything, or if he's come back to me with anything. But I don't see anything realistic changing, as I said, unless the deadline is moved considerably back, at least 6 to 8 weeks, and they're willing to compensate us with more money. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. So yeah guys, so that's it. So what we'll be looking for next is where we do go from here. Obviously I'll keep you guys updated with projects and what we're doing from here. Obviously we've got the cowboy build job that we will be going back to. Obviously people have asked about this job. I've always said that. I've said it so many times in the comment. Obviously so many people are asking. Even the client has answered to people in the comments as well and explained that we've agreed to take some time off the cowboy build job, but we will be going back to it. Realistically, it'll be in the new year, I would say, but we'll be going back to that as well. So I'll let you guys know very soon what projects we'll be filming. We've got a few little bits here and there, but yeah, please stay tuned for that. Also, please subscribe as well if you're not already subscribed. I think we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. If we could hit that before Christmas, I think that would be awesome. I know a lot of people watch and they're not subscribed, so if you're not already subscribed, why don't you subscribe to the channel, help us to meet that target and be part of what we're doing here. So yeah, that's it guys. So until the next video, please like, comment, share and subscribe, and see you soon. Peace out.